and namaste from me and Gus. We are here today to do a yin style yoga class for you, and its focus is going to be spine health. So, we will just start in a nice, comfortable seated position. If your knees, come above your hip bones, and maybe you have a bit of a scoop in your spine at the bottom by your hips, you may find it more comfortable to take a seat on a block. It creates a little bit more neutrality in the spine, allowing the knees to fall in front of us a little bit more. Take and close your eyes if that is available for you today. And if you'd like, the hands can be resting in the lap or on the knees. Face up is for receiving energy, information from the universe. Face down is more for introspection. Just take some long inhales and exhales through the nose. Allow the face to soften. Find a little space between the teeth and let the tongue come away from the roof of the mouth. Envision as if there's a little string attached to the top of your head, and it's also anchored to the ceiling. And it keeps you seated, upright, but without a whole lot of muscular activity. We'll begin practice with an Om. If you'd like to join me, the hands will come to heart center in Anjali Mudra or prayer mudra. Take a full inhale, allow the belly to expand. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply, preparing to chant. Bow your head to your hands and gently blink open your eyes. Today's practice is going to begin in Shavasana. So we're going to come and lay down on our belly, on our back, not on our belly just yet. Just allow yourself to come to the ground comfortably. Take up as much space as you need to. We are going to have Shavasana with our hands down, palms on the floor. Try to keep the very back of the head being touching the floor. Try not to have your chin tucked too much or have your chin up too far to the ceiling. Just nice and neutral. We'll lay here for a minute or two, so I want you to just take this time without any sort of judgment. Take a little scan of your body. Note what is touching the mat and think from left to right. Does anything feel different here in this pose? Sometimes these long poses where we're not doing anything can be a bit of a struggle for the mind. I encourage you to keep your eyes closed and the body still. From here, we'll take and bend the right knee and then the left, having our knees pointed to the ceiling and our feet flat on the floor. Bring the right knee into the chest and then the left knee into the chest. And maybe rock side to side. Let the feet fall so that the toes are close to the floor. And we're just going to make some nice big circles with the knees, as if there were little laser pointers on the very tops of our knees, and they could draw big circles all the way around. Switch directions. Beautiful. We're going to take some twists. If you have a bolster, it will be helpful. If you don't have a bolster and you have a block, that's also fine. If you have neither of those, but maybe you have a blanket, you can take the blanket and roll it on up to make a little bit of a bolster in and of itself. So we're first going to roll over onto our left hip, and then you'll take your bolster or your blanket or your block, and you're going to turn your leg out so it's at 90 degrees and rest the knee and the first part of the shin on it, or if you do have a bolster, you can bring it in alongside the body, kind of like, I like to use the analogy of a hot summer's night where you've got your partner and you want to have a cuddle, but they're too warm, so you only put your leg on them. That's it. And then you roll out so that your shoulders are close, are yearning towards the floor. That right shoulder may not ever come to the floor, and that's okay. You can have the arm out at a cactus type arm or all the way out, or you can just let it rest here on the side. If it feels good for you, your gaze will be opposite that leg. And like a lot of poses in yin, you may find as the time goes by that you're able to adjust slightly and maybe come a little bit deeper into the pose. really gently begin to roll yourself back over onto the left side. Take your time. Going in and out of poses and yin should feel like slow motion. Going through pudding. We'll sit up. We'll move our bolster or block or blanket over to the other side. We'll cozy on up to our bolster or block, putting our knee and part of our shin onto the block. The other leg is out straight, not locked. And then as we're ready, we can have the one arm out from the socket, and this arm is going to come opening to the other side, yearning for that left shoulder to be on the floor, but it's okay if you're not there. You can have your arm resting on your belly, and if it feels good for you, turn the head to look the opposite way of the legs. And as time goes, maybe you'll feel more comfortable to let that shoulder come to the floor. Close your eyes and try to focus on your breath. And if anything feels uncomfortable but not painful, try to send your breath to that area, encouraging circulation and suppleness in the space of your breath. Very slowly, like you're moving through molasses. First turn the head and then roll the body over. Use the strength of that upper arm to push yourself up and come to a seated position. From here, we're going to take puppy pose. For puppy, you can definitely use your bolster, if you like, for a little bit of extra support. It is very much so a pose through our shoulders and our spine. So if you have a bolster and you want to use it, I like to bring mine up because I'm going to put my tummy over top of the bolster. So I'll back it up. I've got my bolster here, and I'm going to hinge at the hips and come over the bolster like a tabletop sort of position. Then I'm going to let my belly come down, and I'm going to reach my arms out in front of me. I then let my chest come to the floor, and I can let the bolster take my weight. If this doesn't feel good for you, you can always remove the bolster and do it the old-fashioned way, where our hips are over top of our knees, we reach out our hands, and our chest comes to the floor, bum in the air. If this is too much, you can bring the arms into a bit of a triangle from the elbows and let the head come down. If that's still too much, you can bring a block and let it be what your head rests on. And we're in a bit more of a tabletop sort of position. You're not going to get as much in the shoulders this way, but that's okay if you're working more on spine. So you can bring the block down and try to keep a little bit of the weight in the shoulders. Again, like I said, that's not going to do a lot for your shoulders, but you will get a little bit of the spine arch. Some of you may want to just go ahead and take that pose. Another option, if this extended arm is a little bit much, bend the elbows and bring them to prayer behind the head. My shoulders don't like any of these today. That's fun. So I am going to take and see what I can do. One of the principles in yin is that we're to find our edge and sit there. can be quite uncomfortable. Just make sure wherever you are that you're able to take those long inhales and exhales. Gently and slowly begin to walk the hands back towards the face. Lift yourself up into a tabletop position. We're going to have knees directly under hips and our shoulders, elbows, and wrists all in one line. We're going to take really slow cat-cows. We often do them with our breath, and if you want, you can take really long inhales and exhales, or you can breathe naturally and just move through the motions nice and slowly. So for cow, we lift the tailbone, let the belly drop slightly, but the abs are still engaged. We want our shoulders to come together, chest is open, face is forward. On cat, we tuck the tailbone, bring the belly button to the spine, chin to chest, really pull those shoulder blades apart. Moving through to cow, nice and slow. Back to cat. Just move with your own pace. Take your time. Really try to feel every part of your spine moving through these motions. Let's do one more cow and one more cat. Beautiful. Push the hips back. And we will do, I have a little piece of paper here with all my things that I'm going to do. Ooh, a lovely little hip flexor stretch with bolster or block. My bolster is kind of ridiculous in its thickness. So as you can see, like, it's already taller than my block on its medium side. So I am not going to start with my bolster. We're going to do a few variations of this, and we're going to hold them for a couple of minutes each. So we're going to come to lay down. We're going to come and lay down on our back, bend the knees so that they're pointing towards the ceiling. Inhale, engage the abs, and then lift the hips up and put your block underneath of your hips, right at the sacrum. So your block is going to, the bottom of the block, the part farthest away from you, is going to be resting just above or right at your butt crack. That's how you're going to know you're at your sacrum. So we're going to just extend the legs out in front of us. I've got another little bolster there. Kick her out of the way. Extend the legs out in front, allowing a nice gentle stretch in our hip flexors and a little bit of a back bend in our lumbar spine. If you like, you can extend the arms out to the side for a little bit of a chest opener. Really try to let everything relax. We have a tendency to still hold on. So really feel yourself relax. Bend the knees back again so that they're pointing to the ceiling, feet on the floor. Take an inhale, engage the abs, and then lift the hips up. Turn the block onto its next side. If you find once you extend your legs that this is not a happy spot for you, take and just reduce the height of the block again, and then extend the legs out. And if it feels good for you, extend the arms to the side. If your knees really don't like the legs being extended, you can do this in a cross-legged sort of position as well. And you may find that that gives you an even deeper stretch because now you've got the weight all at the end of your thigh instead of distributed all the way down into the legs. Bend the knees. Once more. Take an inhale. Engage the abs. On the exhale, push those hips up. Remove the block. Lowering on down. Really slowly. And then extend the legs out in front of you. Going into a neutral spine before we do anything else. So just allow the block to go to the side and allow your spine to come back to neutral. While we're here in Shavasana, take a moment and reflect on how maybe you might feel differently than when you started the beginning of the practice. No judgment, just awareness. Wonderful. Let's roll over onto our right side. And then slowly push ourselves up and come to a seated position. With a little piece of paper go. I'm my own worst enemy. Ooh. It's still there. Beautiful. Next one we're going to do is supported fish, and it can be done with bolsters, blankets, blocks. If we're going to do it with a block, we put one here. It's going to go in between our scapula, in between our shoulder blades. We can bring a blanket or another bolster or another block to where our head is going to go. For ladies, the easiest way is probably to tell you find your bra strap, find the bottom of it, and that's where you want the bottom of the block to line up. Gentlemen, the middle of the block is going to line up with where your nipples are on your chest. So, we take and start seated with our knees bent. Move our hair or anything else. And start lowering down. You're going to find maybe you need to adjust a couple of times on your way down. And if it doesn't feel good, it probably isn't right. It should feel fairly comfortable when you get into it. So here we are. Oh, there it is. Okay. That's not quite it. Ugh. Oh. Beautiful. Nope. So your bum, oh my gosh, should be able to be on the floor. Holy moly. I guess I chose the right practice for myself today. If you plan to do it with a bolster, that's also perfectly okay. And it can be done several different ways as well. So we can take the bolster and put it like so. Bring our block underneath and have it so that we have more of a reclined sort of position instead of an all-out body is back. This is acceptable if this is what you like today. Or you can remove the block and have your body draped over your bolster. Bum is all the way there. And we're like so. Whatever feels good for you today is where we want to find ourselves. I abandoned the block. It was not for me today, and that's okay. Every day is likely to be different, and we have to try to meet ourselves where we're at. You know, kind of got a little frustrated there with myself that I wasn't able to get comfortable in the supported fish with the block between my shoulder blades. And, it's a good lesson for me to remember to meet myself where I'm at too. Even people who practice yoga on a regular basis are going to have days where something just doesn't feel right. Our body is saying no, and we need to listen to that. It's always better to reduce your range of motion than to push yourself to injury. Beautiful. Taken very gently, bend the knees to start. Maybe roll over. or sit straight up. If you're on the block, it might feel more comfortable to just sit straight up. We're going to do a few little things of thread the needle, and then some twists on our back, and then we will come into our final Shavasana. Gus decided to finally sit still. He's been wandering around all practice. Okay. So come to a tabletop position. We'll start with the right side. So we're going to inhale our right arm up into the sky. Look to the fingertips. Bring that hand down and through that keyhole. Walk it as far away as possible so that way you land on the back of that shoulder. Extend the opposite arm out in front. And if it feels good for you, you can extend that same leg that's extended out. What it does is it pushes a little bit more weight onto the shoulder, creating a little bit more stretch there. Be careful if you've ever torn a rotator cuff or you have any stability issues in the shoulder. Be very, very careful here. Maybe don't go quite as deep. Bring the leg back, bring the arm back, and push with that other arm to get yourself back up into tabletop. Open the arm up, and then replace it to the floor. We'll do the second side. Open up to the left. Bring those fingertips through. I'm going to have to move a little. Bring those fingertips through. To the other side, I'm landing as far as I can onto that shoulder, extending the arm, extending the leg. Let the knee come back, the hand come back to the face. Push with that arm, lift your body up, open back up to the side, and come down. We're going to lower down. Ouch, that was my knee. We're going to lower down onto our belly. Extend the arms out beside us in a perfect T. You want it right out from the socket. Bring your hand towards your chest. One arm is out. That same hand that came to the face, we're going to bend that knee. We're going to roll ourselves over onto that other shoulder. Should feel a nice stretch through the pecs. of the right arm. If you're rolled over onto the right arm, keep the head down, let the neck relax. Roll back over. Extend the other arm. That second arm will bend towards the face. Bend the leg. Push yourself over onto that shoulder. Roll your body back onto the belly. Bend both the knees and windshield wiper your legs back and forth. And then roll on over onto your back. Perfect. Let's do another couple twists here on our back. Come to lay down. Bring the right ankle over the left knee in a figure 4 position. We're going to lift our hips just a little bit. Bump them slightly to the right, just by a couple of inches. And then we're going to keep our figure 4 legs and let the top foot fall over to the floor. So that other knee is going to come to the ground. The right knee is still up to the sky. And hopefully our spine is in a relatively neutral position other than the twist. That's why we bumped our hips to the side. So we're going to open up our arms and look the opposite way of the twist. I like to close my eyes a lot in yin because it really helps me to go within my body and feel those areas of tension. And really send the breath there and sit with the discomfort. Inhale those legs up. Lift the hips and put them back. Drop the right foot. Bring the left over top of the right knee. Lift the hips, bump them to the left just a couple inches, and then let that top foot come and fall onto the floor. The other hip, the other knee, rather, the bottom knee is going to come to the floor, foot also to the floor. Looking the opposite way, if that feels good for you. If the knee doesn't come to the floor, should have mentioned this on the other side, but if the knee doesn't come to the floor, you can always bring a bolster or blanket, block underneath, and let it rest on there. Gently turn your head back to center. Bring the legs back up again. We'll take a quick little happy baby before we finish practice. So we bring our hands down to our feet. Keep the sacrum on the floor. Maybe you're here. Maybe you're able to open the legs slightly, pulling the armpits down towards the feet. Pulling the armpits down towards the feet. Pulling the knees towards the armpits. I misspeak a lot. Blame it on my ADHD, baby. Oh, that's Alistair. I saw another cat. I have 3. Extend the legs out and then lower them on down onto the mat. Again, we find ourselves in Shavasana. I'd like you to take a moment here and just reflect on how your body feels. And then as you're ready, you can take up as much space as you like. Maybe grab a blanket. Bring it on over the body. You have an eye pillow. Maybe you put an eye pillow over your eyes. Otherwise, we'll just relax. to bring awareness back into your body. Wiggle your fingertips and your toes. And you take some wrist and ankle circles. Maybe a nice big, long body stretch. Ooh. Roll over onto whatever side feels good for you today. And then come to a nice comfortable seated position. Oops. I hope this was an enjoyable practice for you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave a comment. If there's anything that you want to see, anything you really want to work on, please also let me know. I am happy to develop classes to help you feel the best inside of your body. We're going to close practice the same way we opened, with an Om. Bring the hands to heart center and Anjali Mudra. Take a full inhale. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Bow your head to your hands and gently